What's going on, team? How we doing out there? Welcome back. Start swing trade. And yes, I know I'm a little late, but hey, the battle is hard. Like always, guys, I have some new things that I'm working on right now and a great interview that I'll tell you guys all about it tomorrow morning. So stay tuned to Pre-Market Prep to learn all about a special interview that I got working up for you guys. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at the market right now. Let's go ahead and see what's going on right now as we are pulling back in the SPY. SPY, we got up there towards today, towards 450. And I feel like we're going to have this nice little sell-off here, but it's all going to be about tonight. You guys know it. We're going to keep watching to see if Microsoft can bounce, but it's all about Amazon and Apple tonight. Of course, they'll be reporting earnings. Apple not looking good here, coming down here towards the 190s. I still think that maybe Apple doesn't get crushed on their earnings, but I'm not feeling too confident in it. I think it could take a little bit of a pullback, maybe coming back here towards the weekly 9 moving average, maybe towards like 188, and then maybe getting a little bit of recovery tomorrow, but I don't see it maybe coming back here towards 200 on their earnings. That would truly surprise me. We'll see what happens. Like always, take everything I say with a grain of salt and make your own investment decisions. We'll talk a lot about these stocks today because it is going to make an impact. Now, one that I'm feeling a little bit more confident is Amazon. One reason is we kept going towards these levels multiple times. So I feel like a lot of people have been loading up between kind of the 127s and the 126 area. And I think this could push back right back up above the 130s with their earnings. So I'm going to be looking for that push. And my biggest thing is looking for AI mentions from Amazon. What will they give us, right? What will they tell us that they're building in AI? We'll see what happens here in Amazon. Can it lift right back up through this kind of 134, 135, get up there towards the 140s? I could see it making its way back to here towards the 145 before we get some pullback in Amazon. So I'm going to look for a little bit more continued run there, but I'm not trading it. I'm more along watching it tonight. And I think that is very important. Of course, you guys can catch those earnings reports right here on, of course, Benzinga. So don't go anywhere, team. You guys can catch that. So don't be going off of that. Catch us tonight. I got the links up right now. As I see them coming up here, I will give you guys those links because I'm even going to be watching those earnings calls. They're truly important to catch tonight. Of course, let me see if we got those up already. Looks like we should have those up in just a few minutes here. So we're getting up those links of Amazon and, of course, Apple's earnings tonight. Don't miss those. I want to get you those before we get out of here. All right, let's go towards the action here today. It's all about energy on the upside. And who has been talking about energy? You know it, your boy, Money Mitch, taking a look at the energy stocks. Let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, I still have XOM. I talked about it this morning, just this morning, said, could we get back there towards the 107, 108 area? As long as we would hold 104.50s, I would be looking good in XOM. And there you guys have it. Nice little push up there towards the 108 area. Got to 107.88s and looking good here in ExxonMobil. And what does this do now? It starts pushing out all the bears in this pattern. Now, if we could really get up there towards 110, that's where I'm really going to start seeing some true strength let go and some of these bears let go. So we'll see what happens in XOM. I also have today, I opened up a position in Chevron, but Chevron's right back down here towards where I had just had it. And it was in the green for me. I had 160.03. So we're right back there towards 160. Do I take an increase shot here in Chevron? That's what I'm fighting with right now. Right now, I'm risking off the 159. I could add here. I'm just going to hold it overnight to see what happens in Chevron. XOM still looking good, but that could always turn around, right? So instead of increasing position in Chevron, I'm just going to hold to where I'm at. And we'll see what happens in this one. Of course, I had PXD, but I already sold that yesterday. That still got a little bit of a pop today, but I'm all out of that one. Let's continue going, team. We'll take a look at some other energy plays. If you guys have some of you guys want to call out, definitely mention them. We had ConocoPhillips with their earnings today. They actually took a little bit of a pullback. I feel like this is an opportunity to get it near the 115 level and maybe risk off the 113s, but I'll have to keep this one on watch tomorrow. I first want to see this one turn around a little bit before I start taking bets there. And Oxy, of course, nice little lift off from that one. Now right back up there from the 60s towards the 62s. So that at least makes me feel a little bit more confident in my oil positions. We'll see if these can get towards the upside. All right, let's keep going. Let me take a look at some other stocks in the market. Of course, consumer cyclical bouncing back a little bit here, but I did see some disaster out there, and I'll talk a little bit about some stocks that really got hit today. So Marriott taking a hit to the downside, right back down below 200. Was talking about that this morning on, of course, pre-market prep, our outlook for the market before the market opens. And one of the things that I saw there was Expedia, right? And you guys can see that on Expedia today, definitely taking a big beating down there towards 100 and continued down even at the open. What did that tell me? Watch out for stocks in leisure. Leisure is what I was looking to really see get hit. And you guys can see it here based on the industry outlook, how quickly we've turned around on leisure in 4 days. So we're going to see what happens here. With this being mentioned, I took a shot today. I went after Carnival Group and I shorted Carnival Group. So this is a new position that I have open right now. I shorted this one at 1782. This one had a high today of 1790s. So not too bad off of the highs, right, on the intraday. Using some of my intraday day trading skills to try to get a good swing position to the short side, and based really more on the 9 EMA on the daily, where I have that 9 EMA around 1795s. Wouldn't want to see Carnival get back above 1805s because it could just drive back towards 1870s. But I will give it the shot there to break the 17 and 1750 support and then come back there to 16. So a nice like $1. This is about like a 2-to-1 outlook, but in the long run, I could see it getting there back towards 15. And I've been looking for pullbacks in Carnival to get back in the name. But of course, I sold this one as this one was ripping there towards the 15s. And I think this one can come right back down towards those levels. So we'll see what happens there on Carnival. You can also keep your eyes on different stocks, of course, maybe the airlines continuing on the downside. And look how quickly they continue today, back down now towards 16. And I think that this is the level where I start getting a little bit interested, but I'm going to look for a little bit more. I'm looking for more closer pullback towards the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average is at 15 for American Airlines. If I can get it at 15s, I'll take a shot there on the airlines. They are pulling back a significant amount. All right, let's keep going. Amazon days were not long ago. We'll see. What about that bearish engulfing candle on Amazon? One of the things that I would focus on Amazon is more of a monthly chart. And the monthly chart has been climbing back. It could pull back here towards the 120s and then eventually take that next rip. But really, Amazon has reversed trend. And I think that Amazon is definitely one of the stocks that you definitely get more people adding it into their portfolios now that it's $100 stock versus, you know, how it used to be like $1,000 stock. And I mean, now you're seeing it kind of hold here, the 50 moving average. It's kind of holding in there. It just needs to, we'll figure it out tonight. One thing I definitely don't like to do is try to use technicals to read what's going to come up on an earnings report. See how that worked in AMD. As AMD went down yesterday with a big bearish engulfing candle, and then a nice little pop back today, about 50% of that. That just goes to show you the volatility in this market and easily how you can get eaten alive if you only rely on technicals. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other areas in the market. Of course, we can talk about certain areas. Solar also starting to come down. I talked about this. This is a warning sign in solar, guys. First Solar is one that I'm definitely thinking about, even shorting even today. I think that the risk off of 200 kind of makes sense here now if I'm looking for solar to really kind of get crushed. Of course, ENPH giving us an ugly outlook, SEDG giving us an ugly outlook. Those continue to go down. Eventually, I think this goes ahead and destroys stocks on the downside. Run opened up really big to the upside and then came all the way back down there to the 19s. I think like stocks like this, That's a pretty hard trap to go through out the open. We'll see what happens there on run. I could see these falling down. So even myself, I'm thinking about maybe shorting First Solar off of 200 right now. But you got to be careful, right? First Solar is a fast moving stock. Does this seem like a stock that I could short? Yeah, because at the point now, I'm really starting to see it break. And if this breaks the long-term trend, it could fall down towards maybe 168, 150s. And of course, we're seeing other stocks just completely break down. All right, it's not going to save us. Look at Meta. Look at Alphabet. Yeah, I mean, Meta definitely looks like it wants to fill the gap on the downside. Microsoft's still continuing to leak, and I've talked about how we need to see Microsoft come back. If not, yeah, the Qs could keep continuing to leak there. Now you're seeing the Qs down there towards 374, but this seems like it's just a bounce, right? On the hourly candle, resistance right around this kind of spike here. This 375.79 seems like it's holding as resistance, and we could cut right back down towards the lows that we were seeing in the morning. So we'll see what happens. Definitely not a bullish day today. Definitely some stocks went up today, but I wouldn't call it a bullish day. And one stock that I'm watching that I actually got out of in the Moo account, I actually tried to short NVIDIA, but in a different way, right? I went about it with NVDS. But I'm keeping an eye on NVIDIA because I think that this 450s area might hold as resistance, and it could come right back down there towards 420s. So now it's kind of making a little bit more sense as I've seen more weakness in NVIDIA. But of course, tonight can change all that with one report. If Apple, for some reason, gets the lift, I think NVIDIA will get a little bit of a lift. I'm going to keep an eye on these because if Apple does get crushed, I think that's it. NVIDIA will probably already start letting go. Of course, NVIDIA doesn't report to the end of the month, so keep that on your radar. Understand that because this could get crushed before the earnings come, and then by the time the earnings come, NVIDIA actually gets a pop. That's just how this market works sometimes, so be careful out there, team. All right, I see some shop mentioned in the chat. I want to keep going with what you guys want to look at today too. Since I was a little bit late, you guys just keep throwing up names in the chat. If you guys want me to take a look at it, now's your chance. You guys are the ones here. So you guys also run the ship too. Let me know what you want to see. I'll take a look. All right, let's keep going. Shop mentioned here by Oscar, and I think Shop was an interesting one. Had a really decent report. And I'm really looking for Amazon's report to maybe turn this right back around to the upside. And so that's where I want to bet on Shop going to the upside today and take a swing trade. But I'm not going to because Amazon's report is going to change everything about Shopify tomorrow. It could be right back up there to 65s, maybe even pushing to 68. Or it could get crushed on Amazon going down, and it could be right back below, let's say towards like 55, and maybe trying to attempt a gap fill down in this space. And so with that being said, I'm just going to be keeping an eye on it. I love Shop in the long term, but the only key is I got to get it on pullbacks, right? I can't be jumping onto the highs now. I wanted to buy Shop when it was back at 40, back here. Now it's had its run, right? It could pull back into this gap first and then maybe make the next step back up towards the 70. So big thing to look out for tonight when Amazon comes out is watch how Shop reacts off of it. Another one that I look at when Amazon reports is Melly, but we'll keep an eye on that one. That one's actually been doing really well on the day. We'll see if this one keeps pushing to the upside. Mercado Libre. All right, Qualcomm, let's take a look at it. Qualcomm starting to come back a little bit here. Is this one that I want? Man, this was looking so good before the report for it to just get crushed like this. I thought maybe it comes back towards the 125s, 122 area, and then we get a move back up above 130s. This seems like a complete washout of all those buyers that were getting it here from the 120s. So yeah, if you want to risk off of maybe down here in the 115s, 118 area, yeah, you can do like a small risk to reward, but I need to see this stock at least climb a little bit before I want to get back into it. I need to see it climb towards like 123s, 124s. Looks like it wants 130 back, and then I'll start looking at Qualcomm. Right now, the way this market is, it could keep leaking back towards 110. I don't want it right now. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to keep going with stocks in the chat. I'm going to try to do as many as possible really quickly here. You guys smash the like and keep us going. All right, PLTR pulling back today. You can see that a little hold here around the gap area. You wouldn't want it to get into that gap area because it can let go in a hurry. So at this point, we need to be careful with these stocks like these growth stocks and AI names, because when they crush, they could get crushed down in a fast manner. And I think a lot of that's going to depend on tonight on Apple. If Apple just gets completely crushed on their earnings, yeah, watch for these momentum names to really quickly turn. So really quickly, we just got to move there on AI that went to 44, almost 45, and you're back down below 40s. It was acting as resistance today around the 40s. So that's a big, important level. If that 40 cannot hold there, you could see a breakdown and now starting to come back down to 38s tomorrow. We'll see what happens there in AI and some of these other names. All right, of course, like Carvana still on that chart too. And I was even thinking about, like, do I go shorting on Upstart today off the 68s and 70s? This looks good off the daily. A lot of like topping action here in the 70s. But this is also a momentum name. Do I want to go shorting momentum names? I'm going to wait for this trend to break first before I try to short a name like Upstart that could just rip my face off. All right, let's keep going. I see other names in the chat. Let's keep it flying. We got Tesla mentioned in the chat. Let's go. Tesla coming back there to 259s and getting a little bit of a bounce. Do I think this is going to be able to hold? Yeah, but it also is kind of rejecting this outlook where it comes back here towards like kind of 260s, then comes right back down. So we'll see what happens there in Tesla. I'm keeping an eye on Ford. It's starting to make a little bit of a comeback. GM also. Of course, if you get any negative news in the auto manufacturers, they could come right back down. And of course, I'm keeping my eye on any strike news out there, but I think that will come closer towards the end of the month, if not in September. INTC, Intel right back down there to 34, finding a lot of buyers into the 34 area. So that's one thing that I can definitely see. Buyers bought this resistance, drove it back there to 37. It got the earnings report. It was right back down there. Now trying to climb right back. And I think that this is one that could just kind of chop around while we were in this kind of choppy period. If the Qs just really get wiped out, yes, it could come back to 30s and 33s and 31s. But for right now, it's not a bad little stock that keeps finding some buyers on pullbacks, especially into the 33s and 34s. So let's see if this can drive right back to 36 tomorrow and continue the lift. What would it need? It would need a good day in tech. Let's see if we get it. All right, let's go to BIG, Big Lots, right back down. Of course, this is kind of department store, and we're about to get 4 o'clock, so keep your eyes out. Of course, the big boys are going to report, and they're going to be moving really quickly here after the gates. And be careful with quick movement here, guys. It's 4 p.m. If you want to keep up with all the earnings action, keep up with all the earnings action, of course, with pro.benzinga.com. But look at Amazon's first reaction there. Amazon, I'm betting at least, and this is like a lunch bet, not taking a real bet. It's to the upside on Amazon. We'll see what happens on that one. Apple's the one that I would be a little bit careful on. I think that Apple could react up with Amazon and then eventually get smacked as their earnings come out. We'll see what happens there on Apple, as they usually wait a little bit to their earnings come out. Amazon's usually a little bit quicker, and you guys see that already up there to 136. I talked about how it could come up there towards this 135, 136 resistance. This could already be the topping action on Amazon, but we'll see what happens with their report, what AI mentions they mention. And of course, if you want to keep up with all that, you guys can keep up with all that right here on Benzinga. Go to pro.benzinga.com, get your 2-week trial. Go check out those earnings. Take a look at the earnings report. And of course, I will see you guys bright and early on Pre-Market Prep to talk about all the action, of course. Smash the like if you guys enjoyed it. And stay tuned. Tomorrow, we got an exclusive interview that you guys might not want to miss. Like always, hit the like if you guys enjoyed the action. I'm Money Mitch, and I'll see you tomorrow.